So I wanted to talk about human relationships first, and what I think is really important to note is that in our world, we've relied very heavily on our human relationships for guidance and support and love and intimacy and connection. And something that I'm learning in my eco psychology certification right now is that we have put a lot of pressure and a lot of weight on our human relationships. And I imagine that a lot of us are feeling that right now. We're feeling the voids and the holes that are there from not having that intimacy and that touch and that connection and that human that human presence in person right now, especially a lot of us who are alone. So I wanted to offer this because something that I feel that has been one of my strongest support allies for my entire life is the natural world, and wanted to talk about the reasons why I feel that the natural world can be one of the most powerful sources of connection and intimacy and love and guidance, and that this might be the very perfect opportunity to work with that and to utilize that to be able to find and build a deeper relationship with the natural world, to understand how it can be of great service to our lives and how we can continue to give back to the earth in that way in which she provides us. So I wanted to start by just talking about what nature provides and how we can work with her to understand ourselves in a better way. So one of the things that I've been practicing for a really long time is being out in the wild and simply opening up my senses in an intentional way and really opening up to receive more than we could really know from the natural world. And part of the sovereignty aspect of this is that we as a society, we've been stripped of our innate senses, that we've been our connection that way, our sovereignty, our power as animals of this earth are our senses, and our ability to connect and to feel and sense and smell and taste and touch and really feel and understand the subtleties of the natural world can give us a greater sense of belonging and connection to our earth and to our home, and ultimately to the world at large and our place in the world. And so these practices are not only just to help us take back our senses and our wild sovereignty, but also can help us to really understand what it is that we're here to do and how we're here to be of service. If we quiet ourselves enough, we kind of are able to understand what our individual role is within the ecosystem of the world and of the planet, and how we're called to serve. In so many indigenous traditions and so many original ways of living, we were in a constant conversation with the natural world and our dreams, and we were completely guided by nature. And so in that way, everybody knew what their role was. Everybody was able to find their place and their village. And so being in this conversation with the land is one of the most powerful things that I feel like I have ever been able to work with, and myself. Hi everybody, so glad you're here. And a lot of the practices that I've been learning are from the Animas Valley Institute. I'm currently getting my Wild Mind training certification with Animas Valley, which is essentially working with our psyche to self-whole and learn practices to utilize the 4 directions to go out into nature and do therapeutic practices with different parts of our psyche that that have developed coping mechanisms throughout our life from trauma and different things, and to actually interact with beings on the land to learn how to have conversations about what it is that is troubling us, or asking questions and listening for answers. So this conversation and exchange builds resilience in us, because we are able to go out and on the land and receive and give everything that we need. And so I feel that this is like one of the most important practices that we can do right now during this quarantine and during this time of total isolation from one another, to go out and deepen our conversation with the land on behalf of honoring and being in presence with her for all that she gives us, for all that she provides us, and additionally to learn more about ourselves. So with this program that I'm running on starting on Saturday, we're going to be sitting in council together for a week. There's going to be a few sessions, and I listed that in the description of this video, but we'll basically be being guided to go out and have a deeper experience with nature, that we can ask questions and receive guidance from nature in this time, and kind of come back and be able to counsel and talk through the things that came up for us. And so this is really an old practice, so an old ancient tradition to go out and find a vision, or go out and listen and be called and invite in the mystery of what wants to be shown, and then to be able to come back to the village and to the council and the community to share what has come up, and learn and glean wisdom from everybody else in the group. So this is my offering, and as I stated in the description with how to register, I am willing to open it up to anyone who is wanting to participate with a suggested donation, but also, pay what you can. No one's turned away. So if you feel really called to really build this deeper connection with the non-human world in this time, to feel in a deeper intimacy with all of life, to help you open those channels of creativity even, and to expand your mind and your heart to deeper wisdom that perhaps you hadn't really been able to tap into previously, and to dance with a tree, and touch the flowers, and use your senses in a more powerful way to connect. And to be honest with you, just to be straightforward, this has been like, when I've had trouble, like when I've been in a funk in my mind and my heart, just going out on an intentional walk with a threshold to cross, and being in this conversation with the land in this way has brought me like some of the most profound understandings about trauma that I need to heal, or special gifts that I have that I didn't know. And I would love to just share with you like one example, because I know for some of us it might be a little challenging to actually kind of like conceptualize or comprehend, like, how would this even work? So I'd love to share a story with you. So I once went out on a wander and I was courting a surprise, and I allowed myself to have a soft body and a supple heart as I walked out onto the land under the strong sun of the desert in Arizona. And as I walked, I breathed in the air and I allowed my mind to be clear, and I invited in a surprise. I invited in mystery to show me whatever it is that I needed to be shown in that time. And as I walked, I observed, I looked, I was curious, and I came upon a coyote that walked across the road, and I immediately got this feeling that I needed to follow the coyote. So I saw this coyote walk into this particular part of the desert, and so I followed. And as I followed, I paid attention to things on the land that felt dangerous and alluring, and things that really surprised me or shocked me. And I came across this cacti, this saguaro cacti, and it had this gaping dark wound in it. And as I just felt this strong pull to this cactus that had this gaping wound, and I felt empathy. I felt like sadness, and I felt like I really kind of understood this cactus somehow. And as I approached it, I really approached it with reverence and understanding and a desire to hold this cactus in maybe a way that it's never been held before. And as I approached this cactus, I asked it permission if I could actually put my hand inside of it. And inside of this cactus there were these like things that looked like bones inside. And as I put my hand inside, I just began to like completely weep. Just tears were just flowing down my face. And I just put my hand inside the wound of this cactus, and just a rush of emotion came over me. And I started feeling the tenderness of this cactus. I started feeling how vulnerable and open this cactus had been and is. And it really brought me to this understanding of both how I wanted to be touched myself, and how much I was longing to be held in that way or touched in that way, for someone to be able to come in and hold my wounds, and how deeply I was longing for that in myself. And with the in coming to that part of this whole process with nature connection and these wanders and this conversation with the land, is that a human being in mirroring back and being curious about my story had helped me to uncover and understand how it is that I have put up walls in myself to that kind of intimacy that I really crave. And another thing that kind of came out of that experience was, as I was touching this wound of this cactus and having my hand inside of it in that way, I felt like I remembered all of the people in my life that had allowed me to touch their wounds, all the people that have invited me in, trusted me into their space where they have hurt and where they have trauma, and all of the people in my life that I've supported when I was young that had like they were cutting themselves, and the moments I've walked in on friends who've shown me their scars and shown me where they have like self-harmed, and and like how that also may be one of the gifts that I have to offer the world, is my ability to hold wounds and hold space. And so, yeah, so I actually really haven't shared this story publicly, and really appreciate you all coming in and listening, because I wanted to give an example of a very simple experience on the land that like opened up just a well of understanding about my soul's gifts, and what I'm here for, and my own trauma and my own wounding and the things that I'm longing for. And honestly, it's just a thread. It's, as I'm sharing this right now, I'm realizing how much more can be, more questions I have about the cactus, and about this wander, and how we as human beings have an opportunity to go on these wanders and come back together and ask questions and be curious about each other, to help us open up and expand the story in a more large way, to help it open it and see more of what's there. So I wanted to share that, my story and my experience with you, and hopes to help you understand more of the kind of work that I am stepping into offering, and have been having some really beautiful experiences with my clients, offering, giving them invitations out on the land to work through certain things, and also to perform certain rituals that need to be performed for their lives, and the work that they're doing and the work that they're stepping into. And so a lot of this includes dream work too. And nonetheless, that was a lot, and I wanted to cordially invite you to participate in my Wild Sovereign Soul offering that starts on Saturday. We're going to gather in council. There's only 20 spaces available, and it's about half full. So I invite you to register, and I have a suggested donation, but no one will be turned away for lack of funds. So if my story and this work is like calling to you, this would be an amazing way to open up that journey for you into a deeper conversation with the land, a deeper conversation with your soul, a deeper resilience in yourself, to learn how to work with nature, to receive and guidance, and have these openings and these mystical and magical experiences out there in a more clear way, in a way that feels guided and supported. So yeah, so please share this video, and I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback and how this touched you, perhaps. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I wish you such a beautiful rest of your day and your week, and that you get outside and feel the wind on your skin and the sun warming your bones if there's sunshine out there, and just lay on a tree and listen and thank it for the air that you breathe, maybe. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'd love to see you in my program on Saturday. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Okay, bye.